everyone, welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm going to be talking about my no moisture treatment experience. I had made a video about my TSW experience, so today I thought it would be good to make a video specifically talking about my no moisture treatment experience, because that was very much so it's pretty much a whole nother story, you know what I mean? Like, TSW experience was one thing and no moisture treatment was another. So I want to get into my NMT experience. I kind of just want to show that even though my skin right now looks perfect, there was a certain time in my life where it wasn't. So hopefully this video will be another video to encourage others that there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. There's definitely something out there for you that will heal you. To those who don't know what NMT is / no moisture treatment, it's basically called no moisture. It's basically called no moisture treatment for a reason. You can't use any moisture whatsoever on your skin, and you do that because pretty much when you're experiencing TSW and TSW symptoms, your skin is just, as many of you already know, it gets so bad to a point where nothing really is working anymore. And the symptoms that you are experiencing from TSW is from the fact that we've been using topical steroid creams for such a long time to treat our eczema, and it got to a point where now we're experiencing TSW because of how long we've been on steroid creams and how long we've been depending on steroid creams to heal us, that it got to a point where it just wasn't working for us. And you know, I'm just speaking from my experience and what I believe started my whole TSW experience. It could be different for everybody, but for me, TSW started when I got to a point where I was using like so much topical steroid cream because of the fact that it wasn't working anymore, that I started using it way more than I was supposed to, that my skin just started going crazy. I started experiencing all these symptoms of oozing, itching. I had big patches of rashes that are not regular eczema rashes, but they more so look like a sunburn. But I talk about more of how TSW started for me and what it looked like for me and the symptoms. Pretty much everything about my TSW experience, I already have a video about that, so I would watch that. And not only the steroids cream stopped working for me anymore, but all sorts of products that are for eczema and that are for sensitive skin wasn't working for me. Well, now it makes sense because it wasn't eczema, it was, you know, TSW. But because of this, my skin just kept getting worse with TSW. The rashes kept spreading all over my body, places where I never even had eczema before, and it was just getting so intense. The symptoms were also getting more intense. I was getting more itchier. I was experiencing oozing. So pretty much when I got to this point and nothing was working for me anymore, that is when I had to kind of do some research. And that is when I discovered the no moisture treatment. I discovered it online. There was a whole Facebook group, and to this day there are many people that are most likely doing the no moisture treatment. There's a whole Facebook group about it. I joined that Facebook group. So I started experiencing TSW symptoms in, I believe, June of 2020. It got worse in September of 2020, and then I started the no moisture treatment the end of October 2020, I believe. Pretty much the first week of the no moisture treatment, I would say, you know, things were going good. I cut out all kinds of moisture, and when I say you have to cut out all kinds of moisture, you have to cut out all kinds of moisture. You can't put anything on your skin that has moisture, because pretty much the purpose of this treatment is to teach your skin how to heal on its own again, because we have become so dependent on moisture and steroid creams to heal our skin that we kind of just want to reverse that and train our skin how to heal on its own. It was definitely very hard for me to not put anything on my skin because of the fact that this was fall time for me in Canada. It was getting cold. My skin was so dry during the first week. Even just after one day of starting the no moisture treatment, my whole skin, my whole body was so dry that I couldn't move. And so the first week I was like, you know what, this is going good, I can do this. Well, long story short, that's, you know, that is not what happened. The first week, you know, it was hard, but it was probably the only good time of my no moisture treatment experience. After that, my whole experience with NMT was just freaking horrible. Like, I'm gonna be real with you, it was fucking terrible. Like, and it just kept getting worse. I just didn't feel like I was healing whatsoever. I felt like my skin was getting worse rather than healing. And of course, to many people, people are gonna say, like, obviously you're not putting any moisture on your skin, of course it's gonna get worse, you know. But in my head, from reading all these things about the no moisture treatment and how much it helped people, I didn't want to listen, because I still felt like it was gonna help me. I felt like, you know, I was 100% optimistic about this working for me, because at the end of the day, I did believe that my skin would heal on its own. I've seen so many people that has done no moisture treatment and they have healed. Their skin got worse before it healed, and so I believe that that would be the same for me, and so that's why I kept going. I remember, like, already at this point was getting a little scared. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I was so, like, optimistic, like I said, but just seeing how much, like, dry my face got and how much worse had already gotten, I'm like, I know this is not the beginning of it. And I was just getting really scared, but I just kept going. Like, I thought this was bad, but then it got worse to a point where I wasn't even wearing clothes that would show my skin anymore, because I just didn't even want to look at it. I think at this point, I was just really sad at this point. I remember shedding a lot, guys. I remember waking up and my whole bed was covered in dead skin. I know it sounds nasty, but I know some of you guys might relate. It was so bad. Every single morning I had to vacuum my whole bed, my floors, and it was just disgusting to look at, you know. It got to a point where I would just hate to wake up in the morning. Like, I just didn't want to get up, because I knew it was just the same routine of looking at the bed, seeing how much damage I did to my skin, having to clean it up. I would have to go to the washroom in the morning and literally hold the blow dryer on my face and my whole body to dry the ooze, because of how much I would scratch throughout the night. And I know that was something that you had to control when you're going through the no moisture treatment, but it was so hard. It was so hard for many others as well, because when you're going through TSW itch and then now you're doing a the no moisture treatment, your skin gets so fucking itchy. Like, you'd rather, honestly, I don't know about others, but I literally was thinking to myself, like, I'd honestly rather fucking break my fucking leg. Like, this is, like, so fucking bad. I couldn't deal with the itch, and I would try so hard not to, and then when you itch just one time, you just start going crazy and you can't control it, to a point where you start bleeding. And at that point, you already don't fucking care if you're bleeding or if you're oozing, and if you just looked even more fucked up, because it just feels so good to just, like, itch everything. But then after, the feeling you get after is the worst fucking thing. Like, not only you're just sitting there saying, like, fuck, why did I do that, but you're also looking at your body and the damage you've done, and it just fucks with your head even more, that I just would have a full-blown breakdown. I think at this point, up until my last month of NMT, where I decided to stop it, which was about 3 or 4 months later, I probably had a breakdown every single night, if not every other night, especially after scratching so much to a point where I would bleed and ooze and drip and ooze. I would have these breakdowns where I'll just get on the floor and start fucking screaming and crying because I was just so over it. I was like just so fucking over everything. I was just becoming so angry. I was becoming so freaking sad, depressed. I didn't even want to freaking wake up in the morning because of having to deal with the same shit every single day where nothing's even freaking getting better. So why the fuck am I gonna continue? I'm sorry that I keep cussing right now and I keep getting angry, or that I'm freaking ranting right now, but like I'm just trying to explain that feeling, and I'm just in that moment again. Just ignore my dog. She would actually remember, like she was there through it all. She's a real one. She's telling you guys that she fucking remembers all those breakdowns that I had on the floor fucking screaming and crying, and she was there next to me through it all. I was already so deep into it that there was no going back. I just had to keep going, and the worst part was that I didn't even want to keep going. But then you would read all these things on, you know, the Facebook group and everyone who was dealing with no moisture treatment, and how they kind of relapsed into going back to topical steroid cream and everything just went into shit for them. Or, you know, you also see the people that did heal from it. So it's like you're just so mentally tired from dealing with your skin, from dealing with... So if it's a little darker, it's actually a bit later on the day. I had to stop filming for a couple hours. But anyways, not only is it mentally tired to be dealing with your skin, but it's also just mentally draining to just be constantly thinking about whether you're healing or not, whether this treatment is working or not. You're always just thinking about what you should do, what you should do next, and there's also other people's opinions that are getting in the way of all these different stories you're reading online as well. And so I'm just trying to say, it wasn't only mentally draining to be dealing with the no moisture treatment and dealing with your skin, it was also draining to be constantly thinking about other things as well. What makes it even worse is that you're thinking all these things that are kind of making you more anxious and stressed, but at the same time you can't even distract yourself from those thoughts, because I don't know if it was just me, but how I dealt with the no moisture treatment was very different. I think it's very different for a lot of people, but for me, I totally isolated myself, which I know is not the best thing to do, but that's what I wanted to do. That's what I chose to do because that is what made me comfortable. Maybe it could have been easier if I kind of let myself out the house more and to be with friends and family more. Maybe that would have made it easier for me, but I just couldn't do it. Like, I did not want to be seen by anybody. I didn't care who it was. I didn't want anybody to see me, and that's just how it was. How can I build up the courage to have others see me when I can't even look at myself in the mirror? And even if, you know, I were to distract myself, say if I want to distract myself by doing a little activity, like I would try to write, or I would try to watch shows to distract myself. You can't even do that without getting distracted by the itch. I couldn't even sit down and eat properly without feeling the intense itch, without feeling the need to itch. And the worst part was, usually when I want to distract myself from something, if I'm ever in a state where I just feel super stressed, sad, anger, anything like that, what I like to do is sleep, and I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even make time go by faster by sleeping because I couldn't sleep. And so I just had to go through long nights of just itching and bleeding and oozing and crying all night because I couldn't even sleep if I wanted to. And so you're getting even more frustrated because you can't even sleep all like the pain away. I think I was getting about an hour of sleep every night for like almost 5 months. And that wasn't even an hour of straight sleep. It was in intervals. Like I would fall asleep for max 10 or 20 minutes, would wake up, and then would probably fall asleep for another 20 minutes a few hours later. And the days just felt so much longer. That was another super upsetting thing. Like I don't think I even laid properly in my bed for a long time. I had to like sit up. I would like fall asleep sitting up, and yeah. And every like single day is just you're going through the same thing. And I think that's another reason why you also get so depressed and stuff like that, because it's just the same thing over and over again. And there was like so many times, you know, that I kind of just was tempted to go and see my boyfriend, go and see my friends, go and see family, because there was times that like I really needed that. There was times where I was just crying by myself in my room, like screaming, because I just felt so alone. But then I also couldn't feel bad about myself because I'm the one that's doing that to myself. And I just still couldn't do it. I was hiding in the dark every single day. Till this day, I have the habit of brushing my teeth in the dark, showering in low light, because I got in a habit of doing that from when I was doing the no moisture treatment, because I would just be in the dark 24/7. I remember dreading the morning to come, because that means there was going to be more sunlight and my skin would be more noticeable for me. I already couldn't deal with seeing how I looked. I couldn't even imagine getting myself out there and having people look at me. That would just make me feel even shittier. I don't know if I was already dealing with hair loss at this point, but pretty much things got worse to a point I started losing all my hair on both sides of my head. When that started happening, I think that really got me, because I had already dealt with alopecia a few years prior to dealing with TSW, and I had just grown my hair back from it. And so to be dealing with that again, it was very bad. Fast forward till February, I was at a very low point in the no moisture treatment experience. Like I couldn't do anymore. I again was going back and forth in my mind all the time whether I should quit or should continue, but I was scared to go to the dermatologist. I was scared to do anything because I was scared that they were just gonna prescribe me cream that would make my skin even worse. I just felt like there was no way out, kind of, because I feel like no matter what I did, my skin was so fucked up that honestly sometimes I just felt like there was no end to this. Like I'm already too deep into it. If I go back, it might make things worse. I just didn't know what to do. I was gonna keep going, but out of nowhere one day I remember my sister was over, and you know, whenever, you know, my sister or family would come over, I would isolate myself. And I think at that point I just got so tired of it, and then I just ended up breaking down. I ended up breaking down to pretty much my family, and I remember the only thing I could say is I can't do this anymore. Like I just can't do it anymore. I'm so tired. I just can't do it anymore. And that's all I just kept saying. And then that's when they just pretty much said, like, I think it's time for you to go see a dermatologist, go see a doctor about this. And again, I didn't want to do that because I felt like it wasn't going to do much for me. But long story short, after that whole breakdown, my other sister ended up taking me to the hospital. And I'm gonna do a whole separate story of that day, but pretty much that was the end of my no moisture treatment experience. I decided to stop it. I went to the dermatologist where I ended up getting on Topical. I ended up getting on medication, and that's where the healing process started for me, which I feel like I already have a video on, but I do want to make another video about it because I'm a perfectionist and want to make another video about it. But anyways, yeah, that was the end of my no moisture treatment experience, and that's pretty much how the no moisture treatment experience went for me. I feel like that is it for this video. You know, at the end of the day, what I always say is there's definitely something out there for everybody that will heal you. I feel like everyone's story with TSW and no moisture treatment is very different. There's some people that healed from no moisture treatment experience. There's some people that healed off of diets. There's some people that healed from a certain medication like I did. There's some people who didn't need to use any medication to heal. Can't compare yourselves to people, because once you do that and you see that it's not working for you, you're gonna get into this really low state where you feel like nothing is possible for you. But it's just there's going to be something different for you that will heal you. Not everybody is the same. Not everyone has the same body. Everyone is going to heal, but in their own way. And I think you just need to stop comparing yourself to other people, because that's what I was doing and it wasn't helpful. I ended up going on a medication that I had no idea about. It was something that not anybody was really talking about on the no moisture treatment Facebook group, so I didn't know whether it helped people or not. But look what happened. I didn't know anything about this medication and it ended up healing me. Look how my skin is now. It literally helped me within a few weeks. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. My dog is complaining, so I have to go. I will see you guys in my next video.